welcome to our Two Posh podcast. I am Gabrielle. I'm here with my wonderful co-hosts, Bernie.
Hey, I've never been introduced first.
About time.
That's right. Brown lives matter, guys. Brown lives matter.
My daughter Marcella.
Hello.
We have Gino with us on Skype.
I'm here.
Gino.
And Spider.
I found my song.
Woo!
What up, y'all?
Spider, I missed your song.
I know. It always makes
True
it
story.
better. And part 5.
That's right.
I think it's
Yes.
part 5 of the Mafia
right.
story, which we have established. We have no idea how many parts there's going to be to it, but it's a
So
lot.
Definitely don't say a number because we never stick to what we say.
We're
like
not
that.
saying it, but this is part
pretty
5. And if you want to start at the beginning of the Mafia story and you want to not miss anything, start at episode 200, 201, 202, and 203.
Do it.
And we want to thank you so much for listening to us. Over 41,000 downloads. And please tell your friends, subscribe, leave us reviews, write to us, ask us questions. We will answer them, I promise. Right? If you want to be on the show, as soon as we can have people in the studio again, we will start booking guests again. And we are just thankful that you listen to us. And we are going to start this show with a detailed explanation how Larry Iorizzo, Michael Franzese, Sonny Franzese, and Peter Raneri pulled off the biggest gas tax fraud in history. And I want to begin this with
In history?
in history.
Yeah, there hasn't been
Look at that. You
another,
didn't know all that, did you, Gino?
another mob scheme quite
That's right.
like that.
And anyone who's the first time you're listening in, this is insane. This is some stuff. This is like a script from a movie. Like this whole episode, this
It could
series
be.
here really
Yeah.
is crazy. So I'm really curious to hear how this story goes.
This is still the last few episodes have been about things that were going on that my ex-husband Peter Raneri did before I even met him. I had no idea that he was involved with all these things. I had no idea he was involved with Mafia. And after the fact, I went and researched everything, and that's how I found out all these details. I find it very interesting myself because I had no idea that this stuff really happens. And I mean,
We've only seen the movies. I didn't realize this
Only
stuff was
seen
really
the
happening
movies.
either.
you guys, there's actually, this is no lie. There is a fact that they used to have suitcases full of money. Suitcases. Like they would have to have these big cars and they would fill them up with suitcases full of money because I think they made like $2 million a week or something crazy.
It's hard to say
Right.
no to, right?
Any suitcases in a storage locker that we know of?
That's the problem. I don't know of anything. So I wanted to start this with Larry Iorizzo, and I want to actually do an entire episode on Larry another day, but Larry is such an interesting character, and what I want everyone to know is that I always loved Larry. I didn't know Larry was a mobster. I loved Larry as my friend. Larry treated me kind. Larry was nice to me. Larry was I felt generous with our family when I knew him. He actually is Marcella's godfather. We had a ceremony actually. And Larry Iorizzo was a very unique person. And I'm going to read a tiny little excerpt of a story that people wrote about him and just gives you a little little snapshot of who he is.
So before you read what other people know about him, tell the listeners kind of just a little bit who he was. I mean, is it one of the same what you're about to read?
Yeah, it's just it gives you a little snapshot,
Okay.
snapshot about Larry Iorizzo really fast together so you can understand.
All right.
Larry Iorizzo, it's really Lawrence Salvatore Iorizzo. That's also why Gino's middle name is Salvatore.
Oh, yeah.
It is?
He is considered one of the most brilliant white-collar criminals in America. He was the undisputed king of the bootleg gasoline racket who during the early 80s made hundreds of millions of dollars for the mob and tens of millions for himself.
God.
In 1984, facing a long prison term, Iorizzo became a government informant, testified against a number of his organized crime partners, and went into the Federal Witness Protection Program, only to be booted out in 1987, allegedly for making a trip without authorization. A few years ago, he had to flee a hideout in Oklahoma City because of a Mafia contract on his life, and he is wanted in Texas on charges of fraud. Under the circumstances, therefore, it was rather a surprise when on a recent afternoon he sat down in the bar of a hotel lobby for a chat. Someone wrote an article and they did such a brilliant job. He is about 6 feet tall with a handsome face, hazel eyes, bashful smile, and wavy brown hair, and a tremendous body, which a prison doctor once estimated at 550 pounds. He did weigh over 600 at one
Okay,
point,
I was
though.
thinking when you said, would you say tremendous body? I'm thinking like
Tremendous
something
body.
sexy.
Oh, sexy,
Like,
no.
yeah,
No,
but you're
like,
no.
tremendous.
You know, it's crazy though. The man, as big as he was and his body so huge, his face always handsome. He never lost. It's really
Imagine if he didn't have 500 pounds. How good looking that
Unbelievable.
face
I
is.
Clearly,
know.
lots of women love that face because 3 wives, however many.
Well, lots of
he was
women.
another womanizer, and it didn't matter how big he was.
Yeah, lots of women
They're
love
smooth
money.
talkers.
Lots
That's-
of women love someone who's made tens of millions of dollars.
And you
Just
know,
saying.
my
Exactly.
mom and my best friend Ricky, who is her godmother, they came for the christening. And they started asking me, how are they having sex? Like, because there's so much fat.
Oh man, that just sounds
Yeah,
horrible.
go digging around.
Yeah,
to find
someone
everything.
said they have to move it up.
Oh, bleh.
That's a lot.
What the fupa?
Yeah.
Anyways, it was said that he could eat 9 pizzas at a sitting, but now he carries around an attaché case full of weight loss pills. I've been dieting, he says. I think now I'm in the 400-pound range.
Wow.
All the same, how does a man his size hide from the mob and the FBI? It would be suicide for me to say anything about that, he says. In my position, you just do what you gotta do. He said, and this is what was very interesting about them. And I've never heard anything against this, but they never dealt in drugs. And Larry was very offended when people would suggest it because they made these incredible amount of, money. And he would say, they suspect him of drug trafficking, but they can't believe I make that kind of money I do without being in narcotics. I can make the same money in gasoline and diesel that any of these animals make in drugs. He tells about his life.
Hold on. So this is an interview. This is an article that was written.
It was written in 94, actually.
Okay.
But it just gives you, this first page is a very quick snapshot
Wow.
about who he is. And then he goes, tell us about his life, including a period as a bigamist on Long Island and about the gasoline scheme. So we will talk about this article
this
later.
Is crazy.
Yeah, it was, I don't know how to explain it though. When I finally met him, I don't know. I have always had an amazing relationship with Larry. He was always so sweet.
But if you think about it, we always say that. I mean, I don't know Michael, Franzese, and Sonny, obviously.
Mhm.
But if you think about it, every time we talk about it, they're always sweet. And I think they're always charismatic when it
Very.
comes to people because they have to trick you somehow.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's their whole thing is they're
Yeah.
con men.
Oh my God. Like that's the thing that I'm just, like I said, it's all like a movie, like a
Yeah.
script, but to know that stuff's really going on and knowing that people are just really smooth con men, like
Yeah.
shysters.
Yeah,
God,
they're
that's
so good at
crazy.
that.
Yeah.
And I always think to myself, like, isn't it crazy? Like, I'm from Linz, Austria, tiny little town, right? In a different country. And I happen to walk into a place where he was at and meet this person. And they live this crazy life. And within a couple of months, it all falls apart. But I have no idea. But I'm like always going, how did that even happen? It's
Yeah.
so crazy.
So you never
I
saw
can't
any
think
of this
about
stuff.
it.
I mean, this is just completely didn't see any of this going on.
No, because when you don't, I don't even speak the language. I'm trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to go to you to go
In her mind, she's trying to figure out how to move to another country.
Like, this is normal. I've dated sheiks. This is very normal. But that's what's so insane about this whole thing is that, I mean, just the whole part of being like such a good con man. Like the fact that, I mean, in the history of the U.S., this crime right here.
And when she tells you how they did it, it's crazy.
But to have that thought rationale, like how you got to be so intelligent.
Larry Iorizzo was one of the most genius, smartest human beings on this planet. His downfall was that he got
food.
No, he got a he got a kick out of.
He's dying.
He got a kick out of tricking the government. Like that's what
enjoyed it.
That's so crazy.
Loved it.
Big middle finger.
Literally, like the guy, if he just could have stayed under the radar, he would have been one of the richest men in the world. But he just wanted to.
That was a Pablo Escobar. The whole thing. He just was like big middle finger to everyone. Yep. But he was worth, they said, $30-40 billion. Yep. Yeah, it's something insane.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
I know.
So let me tell you what they did. So the organized theft of more than $290 million in gasoline taxes from New York and Florida was conducted under the protection of the 5 New York City Mafia families, according to investigators and recent court testimony. So how smart is that? All together.
How do you explain that, how the whole thing went down?
We all are very strong on our own. So why don't we just
So he came up with that idea?
Damn. Now,
that's ballsy too, because nobody wants. I mean, I'm making an assumption that no family wants to be stepping on the other one. They don't want to have their toes stepped on by the
also,
people.
It's kind of scary because if somebody fucks up, you're like
him specifically kind of idea. Right? God, one nut's getting cut off by one family, and one nut's getting cut off by the other.
So this article talks a lot about Special Agent Tom Sullivan, which this man I actually met. This is I still kind of think that that's really crazy. And I remember that we had to go to court. He had to go to court, but I didn't know what for. And Tom Sullivan was always there.
Yeah, I remember that name, obviously, from my dad. Yeah.
Tom Sullivan became a friend, actually, which is weird. But I think Tom Sullivan always knew that Peter was, like it said in the book, he wasn't really a criminal. Like he wanted to be a kind of a tough guy, but he was like a restaurateur, but he got caught up. That's kind of what it was like. And they all loved him. Larry loved him because he made his life easier being so big. Like he made jokes about it. He made it funny. He made it was just, I don't know.
So crazy. That's what is it? He's your
godfather. Yeah, we have all those pictures of our ceremony when him and my mom's best friend are like, I am their godchild.
You guys have pictures of these mob figures.
Yes.
Like that's insane.
Yeah. And wait till we get to later, Jeep Swenson, who is my dad's hitman. Then that's later because that comes.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah.
God.
Chief Swenson was Bane.
Bane in Batman.
Like the most recent?
No, the older movie.
Oh shit! Really?
Big.
That was one where Arnold Schwarzenegger was in it, right?
I don't know.
But it was one of those.
It was the older Batman.
Dude, that's cool.
There's videos of me and Jeep's daughter where Jeep is teaching us how to swim, and Bernie, his arms are
he's in the Guinness World Book.
Big,
massive. His name is spell it.
Jeep Swenson.
Jeep. Swenson SWENSON.
He's like a professional wrestler. Too.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's from Fort Worth?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
He was my dad's
Robert Swenson.
best friend, and they shared a birthday together.
Yeah.
And Hitman?
With some stories about that too.
That's
coming later.
Absolutely insane. He's Robert Alexander Jeep Swenson, born in San Antonio.
Yes.
He was a big man.
He died at 40.
Yeah, his heart exploded from all the steroids.
Okay.
I'm still
wild
best friends with his wife, and his daughter actually is a porn star.
What's his daughter's name?
Kaylee.
She go by that?
No, you can find her on Instagram, Viking Barbie.
Viking Barbie. She does porn, really?
Go look at it.
Viking Barbie. Let me see if I'm friends with her. Viking.
We grew up together, me and her.
Oh, there she is.
Beautiful girl.
Yeah, she's very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. So.
Wow. All right. Wow.
We're like sidestepping.
I know.
Sorry.
Okay. There's a lot.
So, when there's $1 to be made, the mafia are like weeds growing in a manure field. There is not a wall built around each of these families, said Special Agent Tom Sullivan, a member of the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Operation Tiger Tail team investigating the tax thefts. The New York Mafia's participation in the fraud, in which petroleum wholesale companies pocketed millions in federal, state, and local gas taxes, was partly disclosed in a Manhattan federal courtroom during the racketeering and loan sharking trial of Michael Franzese, now in its 6th week. An investigator with the Long Island Organized Crime Oil Industry Task Force said the mob's commission, composed of the bosses and high-ranking members of the 5 New York City crime families, gave Franzese its support. Franzese gained attention in South Florida last year as the president of Miami Gold, which filmed Cry of the City in Broward and Dade counties.
What year is this?
This is 1985.
Oh.
I met your dad in 1984, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is March 85. The movie, described as breakdance romance, has yet to be released. According to police investigators and the testimony of the convicted mastermind of the gas tax fraud, Lawrence Iorizzo, the mob's man in charge of the Florida and New York operations was Franzese, son of reputed Colombo crime family captain John Sonny Franzese. It was during production of Cry of the City that Franzese and 15 others were indicted by a federal grand jury in New York on loan sharking and racketeering charges from an unrelated investigation. The trial began in January and is expected to end in mid-April. Testimony turned from organized crime profits and loans to gas fraud when Iorizzo was called to the witness stand earlier this month amid tight courtroom security. Police have said that a mob contract had been issued on Iorizzo's life. Iorizzo, who recently was sentenced to 5 years and ordered to pay $1.7 million for his role in the theft of $1.1 million gas taxes, testified that Michael Franzese was the overseer of a 30-man crew that conducted various how did I lose my spot? Assistant U.S. Attorney asked Iorizzo about a conversation with Franzese when the two men became partners in a New York oil company, Galian Holding Company, in 1981. That's when they started all this. The conversation had to do with how we would be running the business. I was going to supply it, and he, Franzese, could handle any of the problems from some of the other distributors who might interfere with us. Iorizzo said, according to transcripts of his testimony. Baird asked Iorizzo what protection Franzese pledged. I would have the protection of the 5 mafia families, Iorizzo answered. After running the gas tax fraud in New York, where revenue officials estimated $250 million a year was stolen. A year. Every year. FDL agents said the mob targeted Florida. They looked at how weak the revenue system was here and moved in, Sullivan said. If they hadn't gotten greedy, the mob could have run the scam for 10 years and never have even been caught. Estimates of Florida's loss in stolen gas taxes range from $40 million to $250 million. This is my favorite. Franzese has denied being in business with Iorizzo totally and said he had no involvement in the gasoline tax fraud.
But now he says he did.
That's so crazy. FDLE agents said that just before Franzese's Miami Gold began operations, Iorizzo moved to Boca Raton and established several wholesale petroleum companies in Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach counties. The movie company is under investigation by federal grand jurors in New York and Florida and a statewide grand jury in Florida. Authorities said much of the stolen tax money was laundered through the movie company to offshore banks.
Unbelievable. That's just crazy.
I know.
That's like so nuts.
And how you could even think of that. Like
that's the whole part about like the brilliance on like
how to
coming
manage.
up. Yes.
Yeah.
You have to.
I mean, that's brilliant.
Now, I'm going to tell a little side story real quick because Boca Raton was brought up. Larry lived in New York and bought a house in Boca Raton, huge house in this gated neighborhood, right? Now, remember, he's a bigamist. He's married to 2 women at the same time. He would take a private jet to Boca Raton with the different women at different times, the different families at different times. And he had a guy stationed in Boca Raton. His name was Mark. And he would call him and he'd go, hey, I'm bringing Rosemary, or hey, I'm bringing Cheryl. And the guy would go in the house.
Change pictures.
Oh, shit, really?
Oh, my God.
No kidding.
Switch out.
Dude, that's some serious clout.
Pictures.
Family photos, decorations.
What happened if you messed
all
it
of
up?
it.
Didn't
That's what I always
That
said.
guy probably was very meticulous because
Oh,
he
man.
might die.
Yeah, for sure. You're guaranteed.
I mean, who
you're
thinks
dying.
of that crap, though? Wouldn't you get
Clearly,
a
he
second
did.
house? I mean, he could have.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I always
but if you have a
thought that.
second house, then I mean, I'm making pure guess. It's all fucked up no matter which way you put it. But if you get a second house, then he has to buy 2 things of clothing for each house. I mean, not that that's a worry. I'm purely guessing because I think the same thing. If you're making that kind of money, you're flying private jets and multiple families. Probably, you know, a $500,000 million home, whatever is in.
I think that he felt the same way he did about
The government.
the government.
He just
I
liked
think
to
he
play the
just
game.
Loved messing with it.
He
That's
probably
what I
wanted to
think.
see, like, obsessed with how
Mhm.
far he could push.
How far he could push. Yeah.
Well, I think
and get away with stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, I think he just didn't give a fuck.
then
Honestly,
that
I
too.
mean, I don't. Even, I think it's kind of like Ghislaine Maxwell. Like she just got busted in New Hampshire, a 183 acre land, whatever it was.
Right.
And I think she thought she was untouchable.
Yeah.
And so, like, because why would you be in the United States when you know everyone's looking for you?
Right.
And
Right.
so
You just don't care.
yeah, you don't give a fuck. You've been able to get away with it for so long that
Yeah, true.
So I'm purely guessing on that, but that's what seems to seem like it makes sense to me. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's fucking ballsy,
Yeah.
right there.
I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable.
So I would not
really.
be able to. I would not be able to manage that at all.
No.
So
I don't think most people could.
I mean, trying to keep a hold of one lie in a relationship was tough.
Yeah.
Having 2 lives and 2 sets
And
of
then-
kids, shit.
3 kids
Now-
in one and
now-
5 kids in the other.
Remember something very important. He weighed 550 pounds, right? Back then, there was only one store that you could buy clothes for him.
No kidding.
So Cheryl, wife number 2, actually got a kick out of it, and she was messing with him because she would go in the store and find out what Rosemary bought him, and then bought the same shirt in
Oh
a
my
different
god,
color.
that's awesome.
I don't have it with me today because today is really not all about Larry, but I have a conversation where she explains exactly what she did.
Oh my gosh.
And then the other thing he would do, he would eat dinner on Sunday night with one family and then have to leave for business. He would always get a phone call and go and have dinner with the other family.
That's so crazy.
Bernie
That's
is
just
like,
like,
what the
God, this is a movie.
No wonder he weighed that much.
He's gotta eat
multiple
twice.
meals
That's all
every
he's
day.
doing is just eating. I mean, the stress alone would make me like way skinny.
Yeah, no
Just the
kidding.
stress of like,
I don't
fuck,
think he
I gotta do
had
this.
stress.
Clearly, he didn't, or that was not his stress. He
No.
didn't see that as stress because
No.
managing a $250 million a year scam
Yeah.
on the government. I mean,
Government.
like, fuck.
It's actually quite interesting too because I found a conversation on the internet, and I love these kids. These are his 3 daughters from wife number 2, and someone had posted that Manuel Noriega had Lawrence "Fat Larry" Iorizzo thrown into jail and extradited him to the United States to answer charges of tax fraud.
Noriega did that? So they say there?
Yes. So
Dude.
what's interesting is that his wife number 2, one of the kids said, why do they call him Fat Larry? Do they call other criminals skinny? Like, is it Skinny Capone?
God.
Because he was Fat Larry.
But
Super fat
that's
Larry.
the thing, though. They call each other like these names.
Well, yeah.
And I know that Peter called him Fat Larry all the time in front of him. He didn't mind. He would laugh about it.
Well,
I
yeah,
remember it.
My dad could do that.
Dude, that's y'all. That's scary to think. I mean, being connected. First off, a couple things are scary.
What's
Many
scary?
things are scary here. Knowing that you have a contract on your life. Right. That's because I mean, how many movies? I can only go for movies, right? Where all of a sudden someone gets shot in the head, and or like Casino or something like that, where those guys come to your face and just shoot you right in the face, and they shoot you 15 times or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But then to be dealing with someone like Noriega, I mean. And he said, like, that's to have that kind of relationship with what kind of horrendous person he was.
Can you imagine?
I just can't imagine that.
Now, I do know that Peter and Larry were in Panama. They had a house there, too. They lived there. And Peter was such a brat because they didn't speak English there. So he would teach the helpers, like they would have maids and cooks and chefs and all these people. And he would get such a kick out of teaching them the wrong words. Like, for salt.
God, he was a dick.
Yeah, he was such a little shithead.
He was just a little dick.
Like, he would
so
salt
funny.
and pepper. He would like just name them like cuss words or something. That's what he would do. It's just so typical. And then he would laugh his head off that's what they would do. And he'd tell the stories to everyone who would want to hear it. So, this is wife number 2 that responded to this, and she said Noriega and Larry were friends. I was so amazed that when we went to his house, we had champagne and none of the glasses matched. As we do know, Noriega was all about money. So when the FBI offered him money to produce Larry, he did. It was set up in a gas station right down the hill from his house, and he was not flown to Miami right away. They held him in a Panamanian jail for 2 days until they arranged for his flight to Miami. And they said that they treated him absolutely horrendous.
That's got to be
jail.
a shit show of jail for sure. I mean, God,
Can you
Panama?
imagine? Mhm.
No.
Yeah.
I can't imagine any jail. Let me say that. I think all of it would be horrible.
Right.
But I couldn't imagine like a Panamanian jail would be fucking horrible.
Yep.
God.
So, I don't even know. I mean, they live such a big life. I don't know how to explain it. Jets, yachts, houses, different countries, Cayman Islands, Switzerland, Austria, making all these deals with. It's so crazy because they would go into these banks and make a friend at the bank to where they got away with everything. It didn't matter what they did because they paid him off.
So whatever happened to all the money he made? I mean, any thought of whatever happened to it?
I mean, he had to pay back a lot, but
I mean,
I'm sure
but
a lot of it was hidden.
Yeah, I mean, God, that's so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it?
Yeah, exactly right. That's kind of what I'm hitting at.
No kidding.
Can we take a trip
If
somewhere?
only I knew.
Bernie National Treasure Trip. To
I'm
find-
telling you, count me in on that one, man. Count me in on that one.
So then in December 85, Michael Franzese turned himself in and he surrendered to face racketeering counts in gas tax thefts. And he was New York Columbia crime family captain Michael Franzese, and he was charged in Broward County with 177 counts of various
Damn.
racketeering violations.
That's it?
Just a few.
Small.
Just in that one state.
177 counts.
And the Florida thefts, they were patterned after the same schemes in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. That's what Larry brilliantly decided to do. And then they copied it in all the different states.
Oh.
He said, we're talking about taking millions upon millions of dollars out of taxpayers' pockets. Money that is not only used to build and maintain roads, but money that goes into the state's general fund and finances schools, hospitals, and aid to the elderly. I don't think anyone can take the loss of all those millions lightly. He surrendered to Broward authorities Friday afternoon. His bond was set at $124,000, but Franzese was taken by FBI agents Friday night to the North Dade Detention Center because of pending federal labor racketeering charges that were filed in New York. He headed a crew of Colombo family members and associates, and Michael Markovitz of Brooklyn. He was the suspected leader of a criminal band of Soviet immigrants.
Oh, my God.
And oversaw the gas tax thefts, which were engineered through a labyrinth of wholesale petroleum companies. The money was stolen by 9 fly-by-nights wholesale petroleum companies that were responsible for collecting from retail service stations. Now, listen to the numbers. 9.7 cents a gallon in state taxes, 9 cents in federal taxes, and any additional local county taxes, such as 4 cents in Broward and 2 cents in Palm Beach County. It's all cents, but it added up to all this millions.
Yeah, but you're talking about per gallon.
Yes.
So, I mean, your car takes 15 gallons or truck
Right.
or an 18-wheeler or something. God, that's crazy.
Mhm.
I mean,
Who thinks of that?
I was literally about to say that. Like, that's just some serious brilliance.
Yep.
To really be able to pinpoint what you're going to, like.
I know.
And how, I mean, yeah, that's crazy.
The companies were supposed to pay the taxes to the State Department of Revenue and the U.S. Internal Revenue Service. They said the stolen tax money went undetected because gasoline sales reported to the state went through a series of wholesale companies controlled by Franzese and others. Fuel sales between wholesalers are not taxed.
What's that again?
Fuel sales between wholesalers are not taxed.
Wow.
In reality, the companies were selling directly to service stations at cut-rate prices and pocketing the tax money. By the time state auditors caught up with the discrepancies, the wholesalers had gone out of business and left the state.
Oh, my gosh.
This was a well-organized, smoothly run operation with one end in mind: to pocket millions and millions of dollars in Florida gas
Mission
taxes.
accomplished.
A classic example was Houston Holdings of Fort Lauderdale and Kendall Petroleum of Deerfield Beach. Investigators said that during a 3-month period, Houston Holdings reported 36 million gallons of gasoline being sold to Kendall Petroleum tax-free. But Kendall Petroleum officials never filed reports with the state. By the time auditors attempted to trace the $7 million in missing taxes, both companies had folded.
Wow.
Another key firm was Miami Gold, the movie production company we heard about. They were nothing more than a front company established for the sole purpose of filtering stolen Florida gas tax revenue to the Colombo family in New York. We were alleging that Michael Franzese was involved in several high-level meetings involving the Colombo family and faction of the Soviet mob in New York to plan and then monitor the thefts in Florida. Franzese was put in place in Florida by the Colombo family.
And this was just the first thing.
It was Iorizzo who reported to Franzese and Markovitz on the gasoline sales of the 9 companies used to steal the tax money. Iorizzo has told Florida authorities that the Colombo family was receiving 75% of the stolen taxes, while the group headed by Markovitz got a 25% cut. At the height of the scam that was operating simultaneously in Florida, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, Iorizzo told police Franzese was receiving $1 to $2 million on a weekly basis.
I want $2 million a week.
I mean, that's a lot of money now.
Imagine back then.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be equivalent to what, $4, $5, $6 million then?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, today?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Probably more than that.
A week.
Yes.
So Florida guy goes, we will get some of the money back. We were lucky. We caught our problem early. In New York, they're saying $500 million is missing.
Oh my gosh.
So, and then it names all the people that are charged in
So
the
this
case.
was, that $500 million was taken through 5 families?
I don't know. I'm assuming it just tells you all these people that are charged. Peter Raneri, one of them.
So, oh God, okay. Keep going.
Well, that's basically how that whole chain was set up.
So when you're seeing your husband...
I don't know. No, I don't see him doing this yet.
That's the thing, but do you see a change in his demeanor, stress? And
Yes.
like,
You said that.
No. This all happened before I knew him. When I knew him and met him, everything was good until Larry got arrested in Panama City.
But then
But
you
in
saw
Panama.
stress.
yeah, but did you see...
The second he got arrested, there was so much chaos and stress, but I didn't know why.
Yeah. What was his excuse Just business?
Business. That's when he said I had to go to USA for 2 months.
So
That makes more
before
sense
they
now.
remember, I think in the other episode she was talking about the 747 and they were going to do that wedding.
Yeah.
He got arrested. Like my dad invited my mom to go to that wedding, and then Larry got arrested, and then everything
fell apart.
changed.
I met him weeks before. This, what I've been talking about in the last 5 episodes, is all stuff that has happened that they did before I met him. Because I want to set this up for what happened when I was actually with him.
That is so crazy.
More laws get broken.
Really? That's crazy. I can't believe. No.
Can you imagine?
We have 17,000 counts.
I thought that I found something very interesting too. This is completely separate. I found it in one of the stuff things that I had, that Peter Raneri, this is a court paper, and he was like, had to go to court for all these counts. 1 count of grand larceny, 2nd degree. Count 2 to 4, issuing a bad check. Count 5, grand larceny, 3rd degree. Count 6 to 10, issuing a bad check. Count 11, schemes to defraud, 2nd degree. I'm like, wow.
That was an actual court.
Yeah.
From his lawyer?
Actually, I don't know. It says the courtroom 305. I mean,
there's a lot of paperwork we
it's
have.
like,
But that's
I'm
just,
like-
this is interesting.
it is, because I'm like, how could someone, and I'm always going, oh my God, I was so freaking scammed. That's what I always like when I see this. I'm like, what happened? How I could not ever dream up in my life that a human being does all this shit.
Yeah.
I really can't.
Yeah.
Because I don't even lie. Ever.
That's so crazy.
Uh-huh.
But isn't that just that someone could live such a completely different life right
Crazy.
in front of you? That's what's so insane.
Insanity.
And people do that now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
different
I mean,
aspects. It's just
Hey, let me
really
tell you
crazy.
something. I'll say it again. When that Ghislaine Maxwell list comes out, we're going to see some people go down.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit.
I hope
Didn't see the
so.
gift. Hell
Yeah.
I mean,
on
this
that note.
pedophile crap is insane.
I mean,
Yes.
I'm like, these people went down. So,
That's
I mean,
crazy.
eventually you run out of doing stupid stuff. Now, to be continued.
Oh, God.
Next episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about Michael and some of his stuff, and Michael and Larry's situation, even though he said he never worked with Larry, but that's not true.
Oh, my God.
There's like videos of them together.
Yeah, I mean,
There is a video not too long ago that I posted, and it's my dad, Michael. Remember when Michael was on the news one time? They
Yeah.
played like that clip, and my dad is like walking around somewhere.
Yeah.
I posted on Facebook.
yeah. So let's get to our party with Miss Polly,
It's time to party with Miss Polly.
The modern day doctorate.
who is not here, but we have her answer. We asked her
Question.
over email.
Yes.
Miss Polly.
You and your significant other are perfect for each other and your dream person, but the sex isn't that great. Do you move on?
Say that again?
You and your significant other are perfect for each other and your dream person, but the sex isn't that great. Do you move on?
So is this, so I know you don't know because it's just the question
Yeah.
is pretty broad. So are you talking about someone who is your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or girlfriend? Which
Well,
one
I
is it?
think this means if you get together and you're perfect for each other,
So you're start dating someone?
dating, I'm assuming.
Hell yes.
Yeah, I knew
No.
Bernie's answer already.
No. There's like good relationships are hard enough to make work. But there's two things that bad intimacy is no. And bad kissing. Two bad things. Right there.
Yeah.
Two bad things that make any relationship not work. For me, at least.
Well, and she said, depends on how long you want to live with bad sex. You
Correct.
can always try to improve the sex. It all depends on how much work you want to invest
No.
into it.
No, sex should be like so super enjoyable. It should be like no holds barred in there. And
But
like,
this might be a silly question, but isn't it only bad if like you're not into them anymore?
No. It's bad. So my 2 cents to it is it's bad. There's some people who don't like to do certain things in sex.
Oh.
So I think about that point. So Like if they, because if I'm going to be in a
bad.
Well, if you don't enjoy an act you're doing it, it
True.
probably makes it bad. If it doesn't feel good because they don't like doing it, it probably makes it bad. If they're just not good at doing it, it makes it bad.
True.
If they rarely do it, it makes it bad. I mean, if they hold back in a relationship, sex sex is important, as we all know, right?
Yeah.
I think that makes it bad.
I was just curious what actually makes sex bad.
But it's all subjective, though.
Yeah, I know.
But that's all subjective, right? Because
Yeah.
some people will stay in a very sexless marriage or,
I know
relationship.
several people.
Yeah, that they'll stay in it because they don't want to deal with being single or they don't want to deal with some nonsense, right? But why? Like, because there's someone out there who will match your energy. Even if you're bad at sex, there's someone who will equally match your, that will be equally horrible at sex. Or someone who, like, I remember this when I was 18 or 19, I went on a date with this girl and she was a horrible kisser. And I remember thinking, horrible kisser, but I'm thinking there's someone that's got to love this chick because
what was bad about it?
I remember.
I just want to know what made it bad.
So what made it bad for me is I felt like I've never kissed this, but I just imagine like
slug
a
in your mouth?
camel, like this, like she kissed, like, I don't know why I cameled, but that was what I just like this weird thing with their tongue. It was
like in and out or something.
Yeah, it was something weird, like but it was like a firm tongue, like it was not sexy at all.
That's why I like to know like the worst.
Yeah, no, but it's all subjective, right? Because everyone loves their thing. Some people love certain things, and that's why
I don't think I'd ever like that. I did have a bad kisser. He like licked my teeth the whole time, and I was like, "Why are you doing that? This is so."
Hold on a second. Explain that.
Like when you're kissing, and the tongue.
I fully get what you're saying.
Like the tongue kept like going right here, and I was like, "Why?"
Gino loves Miss Polly.
Why are you kissing me like this? This is the most bizarre. And then I don't like when people just put their tongue in your mouth and they just like don't move it. Like it's like a slug in your mouth.
That's
like,
weird.
What are we doing?
But
Stop poking
there's
me with
somebody who will kiss that person the same way awkwardly. I love when Gino is like so embarrassed.
Gino is actually off the screen. He's hiding.
That is so awesome. No, but there's
too much. Like too much. I'm like, okay, back the tongue out of my get out.
Correct.
Like,
so
I'm trying to think of all my bad kisses.
Yeah,
it's that.
Right there.
Good kissing. That's like
because,
number one.
I can't allow myself to get past
the kissing
at all because if
might
the kissing's
be more
bad,
than the
then
sex part.
Yeah, if the kissing's bad, it all is gonna be bad.
That's true.
So that's my 2 cents to it.
Get off my teeth.
Yeah, I brush them. I don't need you to double brush them, so we're good.
It's just really awkward. You're like,
that's pretty fucking awkward, right?
Very awkward. Or the slug tongue. I can't with that. Like, what are you doing?
The slug tongue. So just what?
Is that a thing or are you calling it that?
I'm calling it that.
That's not a term.
But I actually can visualize like what that looks like. Just
like in there, and I'm like, this is weird. Or too much, like too much tongue. Like, what are we doing? Like, we're just gonna keep doing this around.
So
like, I try to close my mouth. I'm like, back the fuck up, dude. Like,
that's so funny. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
I can feel my tonsils or something.
Oh,
shit.
that's the worst. That's pretty funny.
I was trying to think of all my bad kisses, so I wanted to know his.
Yeah, no, I've had some bad kisses. Gino, tell us what you got.
Sorry, audio cut out. Couldn't hear you guys.
Oh, that's too funny.
I'll fix the connection.
Yeah, I'm sure. No, yeah, there's nothing worse than a bad kisser. It ruins everything.
No.
So yeah, but I couldn't. I couldn't imagine anyone
I've
staying.
had some good ones, and it's
great. Good scissors makes everything good.
I'd give it time, see if it improved, but if not, I'd bounce.
How long is time?
I don't know. Just it'd be a feeling.
Yeah.
If you don't show any improvement at all, then it'd be pretty short.
Because I get you, right? But I think from the standpoint of even great kissers and great people who are great in bed, fucking crazy. So I wouldn't have to deal with a crazy person who is horrible in bed and a bad kisser. I can't have both, right?
True.
It's all horrible.
So you're saying women are crazy in general?
What if it's
Just say it.
great sex and the girl is a psycho?
That
What
doesn't
would you
work
do then?
That doesn't work either.
Okay,
I
I was
mean,
just wondering.
yeah.
Whole different question.
So that is a different question, but I get
Excuse
it,
me,
right?
I know you ask all kinds of different questions.
That's true.
Because I will say, if it's someone that I'm dating, like they're most likely pretty good in bed. They're pretty good intimately, but then you can only think about it. I mean, so my brother Ralph and I were talking the other day, and I don't know how we got on the subject, but we thought, remember Elizabeth Hurley?
Yeah.
Like, she's still gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Mhm.
And I mean, I have no idea how she is intimately or what kissing was, but the point I'm making is, it doesn't matter how good looking someone is, there's always somebody who's tied to their stuff. Hugh Grant
Yeah.
cheated on her with a guy. It wasn't like
And millions of prostitutes.
like a prostitute. I think it was a guy prostitute or a girl. I mean, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But he cheated on someone who wasn't even fractionally
Yeah.
compared to her. So, point is that shit gets old.
True.
It's
That is
super
true.
old. It is.
Now, question of the day, guys.
The two posh girls ask the question of the day.
Would you be disappointed if your husband or wife didn't cry at your wedding?
What? It'd be almost a little weird if she did. I mean, it'd be fine if she did, but no.
If she cried, you'd think it's weird?
I wouldn't know because I shouldn't say that because it's not true at all. I think that I don't think I'd think anything weird if she didn't cry. I wouldn't be going into it thinking, this bitch better cry.
Oh,
This bitch better cry.
I didn't see one tear.
No.
I wouldn't be disappointed.
No, I don't think I would be
Gabby.
disappointed. I wouldn't be disappointed at all. I mean, I think that's a strange
Request.
thought.
You better fucking cry.
However,
Why aren't you crying? Why aren't you crying?
however,
This wedding's
the,
over.
the sweet little
This is over.
TikToks that you see of
Yes.
guys like just really overcome with emotion when their bride is walking
I think
down.
I'm the only one in the world who's not on TikTok.
Well,
I get
no,
to, but I
But
mean,
you've seen videos on
yeah, I have seen-
Facebook. Like,
yeah.
yeah. The sweet
I mean,
But I
that's-
can,
all I
I can
mean.
totally see that and be appreciative of that, right? Because there's because we don't know. It's all situationally.
Exactly.
You know, we don't know what their situation is. If
Right.
they're a virgin, if they've been waiting their entire life. If,
He thinks of that, of course.
I mean, like, well, because I've had a
That's
few
funny.
people who waited till they were married
Mhm.
as in their like 20s,
Mhm.
for that day, which those
So they're
poor-
really excited that they get
yeah,
to
they're
have
like, I
sex.
finally get to have sex. But I mean, I would just think that'd be a horrible thing to wait that long
For sure.
sex. Because what if you suck in bed? Now you're married to this person.
That's not a good idea.
Right?
Yeah.
Not at all. Not
Sorry.
at all. So, but I think it'd be kind of, I mean,
But I think
Cool.
situational too with like what maybe each person has been through in life, or maybe they feel like they finally found
Yes.
that person for them, or maybe whatever their life
or they're crying, what the fuck am I doing? What
that
am I
one.
doing?
it depends on
over.
the day.
So,
She might be on her period. I
oh
don't
man,
know.
there's all sorts of factors in
Yeah.
there.
Right, I know you're not going to get married, but what do you think?
Wedding, no. Funeral, yes.
Oh,
Wait, what?
You'd be disappointed if your husband
Yeah, or wife, whatever. I don't know.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. If
Cry-
they-
cry at
yeah.
your funeral.
Yeah, I would be disappointed if they didn't.
I'd be rolling over my grave.
Yeah.
I require at least
Hi,
one
Miss
attempt
Patrick.
to get
That's
into
what
my
gas.
casket.
What up?
Hi.
Must be nice. Didn't air conditioning all day.
Quit complaining.
Yeah.
Quick.
How about you, Gino?
The way things have been going for me, I'll definitely cry if I get married.
It's Gino. Oh my gosh.
Oh my
We're
god.
gonna marry you off, sir. We are gonna marry you off.
Oh
You
my
just gotta
gosh.
let me handle all your dating stuff now on, okay?
He doesn't
I-
want to date at
I-
all.
Got me on the dating apps and almost got me killed. So
We'll get it figured out.
It's all your fault, Bernie.
That's so funny.
And
On-
we get you both on Seeking Arrangement.
That I was gonna say we'll do
Yeah.
the seeking arrangements one. We'll get you a sugar mama, buddy. At least if it's gonna be an ass whooping, at least you can get a Ferrari out of it or something.
Yeah, if nothing else, you know they work hard enough
Look at
to make
you.
their own money.
Yeah.
You got a smirk for it. Yeah. Get a Bentley out of it, buddy. I'm just saying.
Never know.
All right. On that note, guys, thank you so much for listening.
Bye.
Please subscribe. Remember to subscribe and check out our YouTube.
Hit the
Thank
bell,
you.
get notification.